number. So, which has been, well, where we're directing them when we get the calls, we're directing them to call the 2058 number. Because there are, in this month's town clerk, each of us has different hats that we wear, and we really don't know one another's business. So if it's a specific question for the person that needs to answer, it has to go to that person. So we're happy, Laura and Brad and I are happy with the way the system is working right now, but we still haven't ironed out how it's going to be for the justice yet. So that's part A. Part B, in your packets you had, this is the draft, I gave it to everybody. This is the draft component of the Public Employer Health Emergency Plan for the town of Howard. And Office of Emergency Services, we have to accept or have voted on this out, to take it out of draft form so that we accept this as our policy. And then we have to have a copy of that left here in my office, and a copy goes to the Teamsters Union office. Oddly enough, Office of Emergency Services doesn't need a copy, but we have to have that copy on file. So what you've got is what everybody has done. It's a templated format, and you just plug in your own town's information. But basically, the things I wanted to raise to your attention, we just have to have a resolution to accept this document. But what I just wanted to raise to your attention, if you had a chance to hopefully look through it, the chain of command for the town of Howard, normally, like if you're a bigger city, you'll have an algorithm and a flow chart. We're not that. So the only thing that Don and I did talk about that I will be adding, it's our chain of command for the town goes from Don Evia, who is the town supervisor. It'll go to Lowell, who is the deputy town supervisor, and then to Lee Pyre, who is the superintendent of highways. And that's going to be our...
what page is that on?
Got it on page 5.
And we did talk about adding fire department.
And the fire department will just be added as just the fire department without any personal contact.
Lowell goes in between.
So Lowell will go in between Don and Lee, and then the fire department will just be kind of a catch-all at the end of that.
Yeah, I read through this thing, and
It's
not a boilerplate.
it's very boilerplate. Basically, this is the precursor. Just making you aware that on September 7th, Cuomo signed into law State Labor Law 527C, which requires all public employees, that includes us, towns, to implement detailed operations plans that can ensure continuity of operations specifically to public health emergencies such as COVID-19. The new law requires that the plan development be finished by April 1. So that's why I'm presenting it to you tonight in its final form. Belinda at the Teamsters Union and I have gone back and forth. She had a few things that she wanted to add. Basically,
what was that? Yeah.
Just basically, she wanted the flow chart or organizational chart, which we added. They also requested where do we purchase our PPE, which is right now Lowe's. Everything we get for cleaning supplies and masks, all the stuff that I use for terminal cleaning, that comes from Lowe's. So we added that in here. And basically, those are the only things that Belinda at the Teamsters Union really felt that she wanted added.
Yeah, on that same page, Rhonda, page 8, there's this thing that says, public employers must be able to mitigate supply chain disruptions. How are we gonna do that?
Go to Walmart.
From Walls. Oh, you go to Walmart.
Source a different supplier.
So it's a different supplier. And we do
And you have some stock.
And we
a little bit of stock.
do keep some stockpiled here. Not, enough that'll get you by.
I mean, Nymer sends us stuff.
Nymer sends us freebies, and we got all kinds of masks, so those kinds of things. I didn't put down the freebie stuff, but we have a stockpile of, that'll last us a
So
couple of
that's how we
days.
mitigate.
That's how we mitigate for anything fancier. So just to finish this up, again, the deadline is to have your plan in place by April 1, so that's just why Belinda and I got to this point, and we were happy enough. It's, like I said, it's very boilerplate. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Fire department was good with, we have to have a place for people to
Right.
go if they're.
In case of an emergency where you have to house
and
people,
they
fire
were-
department was.
They're fine with that. They do that probably in other flow charts or whatever anyway, or people coming in the winter off of 4 lane, so they were fine with it for this.
All right, there was something else I noticed in here. I think it was toward the end, yeah. Now, this has to do with employee and contract or leave.
where are you looking at?
I'm on, well, it starts on page 10,
Okay,
has up to 2 weeks of paid sick leave, which we do anyway. Well, wait a minute,
No, paid family leave.
page 10 down to bottom. Paid sick leave, at 2/3 of the employer's regulated pay for employees unable to work because of bona fide need to care for an individual. That's under the Family Leave Act. Right?
That's what it sounds like.
yes.
Well, yeah, and then the next, and then, okay, there's that. So in addition to the regular leaves, regular sick time, which we already have as part of our bargaining agreement, town of Hubbard provide 2 weeks of paid sick leave and so on. This provision may be modified, employees effectively work from home or something. Then the next paragraph, additionally, town of Hubbard provide up to an additional 10 weeks of paid sick leave? Oh, okay, 2 weeks, so there's 2 weeks regularly, and then 2 weeks more at 2/3 pay, and then 10 weeks more at 2/3 pay. Now,
There's a typo too.
I think, at least on the third paragraph, I think, is the language of the Family Medical Leave Act. But it says the town of Howard will provide, and that should say something like any such payment to be paid from the Family Medical Leave Act fund. There's a small deduction from pay, that's totally funded by the employees.
Right,
Right. So,
that should
Uh,
be changed then.
so that last paragraph is funded not by the town, it's
Right.
funded by the collective deductions, and it's only like 0.1% or something very small. Actually, you told me, didn't you tell me it went up some this year?
Double,
It doubled from,
0.25 or something to 0.50.
so like 0.005 as a percent, I mean, as a
So
decimal.
0.5%?
So 0.5%, now all the employees are paying 0.5% to the Family Medical Leave Act
No,
fund.
it's a set, it's like $1.68, it's a set
But it's not on the.
You mean a total,
Yeah.
a total amount?
per paycheck or something.
Yeah, okay.
You mean it's a dollar amount per paycheck?
Yeah. $1.86 or 60.
Okay,
Plus
well,
it's a
anyway,
dollar a paycheck.
that money all accumulates,
Correct.
and then it funds the individuals that wanna
Well,
take,
here's my concern, instead of spelling it out, why can't they just put, provide additional leave as mandated? Because
As
that leave
mandated.
act is gonna change.
Yeah.
And then you gotta change it.
and then it goes, yeah, it was in 3 stages, I think,
You know what I'm
because,
saying? Because in the future, when it changes, that way you don't have to change it.
We don't have to change this
Right.
every single
but
time.
it should say that the funding for that is from the Medical Leave Act fund, not the town of Howard. It says the
Right.
town of Howard will
Right.
provide.
If that's what they mean.
Well,
Right, well, there's that.
that,
Do you think there's much accumulation in the fund when they doubled it this year and they double it next year?
Well,
Well,
yeah.
now, probably with COVID,
well, there
probably.
should be a lot in there, although with now, everybody can dip into it, I guess. I don't know where the funding came in the beginning. When it went into effect, how did they fund people that wanna take it first day? You know, it has to build up a fund, somebody, I
There's
think it's a piece of workman's comp, I'm
No,
not sure.
you have to work so many days before
Before
you're
you can get,
Oh.
allowed
Okay.
to.
Okay, well, that allowed the fund to build up, but where
Right.
that, but, I mean, we did it as a part of bargaining, right? That was part of the, Steuben County did not do it, and I don't think
I
the
don't think
school
it
did
came.
either.
Why don't I just
Back
take,
and ask.
why don't I
Because
take,
State has mandated, don't matter who you work for.
Right.
Some that is
Well, but
mandated.
we still had a choice, because I know that Steuben County didn't.
Then that's a different project, because
No, this was 2017.
I don't think they wouldn't have a choice in it.
No, I think they did have a choice. I saw in the paper that they
It
did
did.
not, they did not do it,
Up front, it did, you had a choice.
yeah.
So did they have to say they were gonna fund it internally?
No, I don't think they just said they're not gonna do it.
so why don't I for paragraphs, on page 10, for paragraph, under employee and contractor leave, paragraphs 3 and 4, why don't I make some calls tomorrow, and I'll just make that very arbitrary and just say according to what Family Medical
Federal medical leave
whatever
act.
legislation requires at the
I
time.
can ask Kyle what she
Yeah,
does.
well, I'm pretty sure I even got that letter that went out by Steuben County.
She dealt with this a lot at the school, so, I mean.
Yeah. But I think it was a part of our collective bargaining. In 2017 is when this came in. I think the town of Canasteel opted out too. I remember being at one of their meetings where it was a choice that the town had to make. I mean, it's an administrative thing that you've got to deduct it and send it in, so there is a burden on the town. It's not so much a financial burden that you've got to fund it, but you've got to administrate
Right,
it,
you
and keep
administrate
track,
it.
and be responsible for sending the money in.
Well, see, that's a perk that the government gets out of the employer.
Well,
You can do
yeah,
it-
yeah,
you can
that's
do it
right.
for- You can do it for nothing.
Yeah, right, just like we collect county taxes for nothing, right, although they guarantee our taxes, we collect. So anyway, that's the only thing I saw in there that
Okay.
ought to be firmed up, that the
Okay.
payment for that, at least the last one, I don't know about the extra, we're agreeing to basically double our sick leave time.
I think it's okay that we can, I think we have the ability to just stick with whatever the legislation tells us we have to do. And I can just make this
Yeah,
look like that.
well, just so it's, because it says town of Howard will provide, and provide doesn't just mean
Right.
allow.
Right.
Provide is
You will give.
a stronger,
Well,
yeah,
or
it's a
allow,
stronger
will
word.
allow for.
Will allow,
Yeah.
funded by the Family Leave Medical Act Fund, whatever it's called. I don't know who's keeping all that money. Somebody is. Where's all that money go? Where
Probably goes to the state.
do you send that money?
I don't remember a separate check going to the state for that I've ever seen.
Well, it's.
Unless they,
If there's I mean, it's only like $10 or something out of our
Well, it doesn't make
payroll or
sense. It's
something
gotta
like
get
that. It's
to
still
them.
gotta be sent in.
right.
So, somebody must be doing it.
So if it's your pleasure, then we can make a motion to accept this draft with this change, and then after I phrase the change out, I'll email it to you guys. And then
Okay.
if it's okay,
Let me
we'll
get
just,
the wording right here.
Yep.
Sure, I'll make a
Yep.
motion that we accept this with the changes we just discussed.
Is there a second? All in favor?
and here's the second, I'm sorry. Who seconded? Eric?
I raised my finger, he said, yeah.
It's the
So
sign.
I don't know, is it the sign or the?
Fingers often speak louder than words. In my humble opinion. Okay, so what else have I got? Oh, so the other thing that you got by email, that's a continuation from last month. Since I could not find any existing policies anywhere, I'm just starting from fresh, so I sent you 3 very basic templated financial formats for policies. Ideally, what I would like to have happen is over the course of the next 3 or 4 meetings, I'll get all of the required policies in place, we'll vote on them each month, and then next year, whoever your clerk is in 2022, at the January meeting, we'll present all of those carte blanche for you to examine and say, yes, they're fine for the
All right,
upcoming
one thing
year.
in your letter, you said these are required. These aren't required.
Some of them are required.
Well, there are required, there's 5, I think,
ADA, I've got them listed.
that are sexual harassment,
Right.
procurement, investment.
I think,
But-
I
but
do
these-
believe that these 3 were highly recommended, I don't know if required is the right word, but after the audit, those
Oh,
were
yeah.
ones that they felt that
But we've
should
been
be
through all
included.
that about the reserves and
Right.
that stuff.
So I can't make you say you're gonna do it, I mean, just,
No.
I'm offering them up to you, that's what they're asking for, and that's what I worked on, and whatever your pleasure
Yeah,
is, but,
we can table these until some future date.
Yeah, I haven't really looked through them very well, so.
okay.
We just got them 2 days ago. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty benign and basic, but that's okay, that's fine. Next week, I'll make the final, I don't have the numbers in front of me, and I will tell you that next week I'll pay the remaining balances of the town and county taxes to our town. And I will continue to,
Are taxes still coming in?
they are still coming in very, much more slowly now. And I did send another little message out via the website that March 31st is the final day.
you're not extending them, because it was in the paper that
We,
some
you
towns
have the
were
option,
extending,
we
but
did not extend last year, we're not gonna extend
They're
this
just
year.
to trickle, down to a trickle, if I got it.
No, it's a trickle, and we've done very, very well. So that payoff will come next week, just in time for Leanne to take the money in. And then,
Wait, you have to have a meeting with Rachel, don't you, to,
no, that's just, the town's apportionment will be paid by next week, that was what I'm saying. And then at the close of, I have to reconcile with Rachel in April. That doesn't happen until like the third week of
Okay.
April. And then they get their money, they've gotten a portion of their money, but they get whatever money's left to come to the county, and then they have
Sure.
to collect.
yeah, no, they
the rest.
have to make us whole.
Yep.
Uh,
Yes, so that'll happen. I lost my train of thought. That is on the website, that the collectors will only be here through the 31st.
Now, you've segregated out the penalties
Yes,
this year, because I see in our report here, you haven't done that yet, apparently. You won't do that probably till you turn them in. Is that right? Because I see in the penalties in the supervisor report, there was no money, I don't think, taken in under
at
penalties.
the time of reconciliation, all of that
Yeah.
gets entered,
Yeah, I thought it was,
Yeah.
it would come in later.
It
We
comes in.
budgeted in revenue $4,000 for penalties, and usually it's around that much.
It's usually
Maybe-
around that.
Maybe not that much this year.
It may not be that much this year, because I do feel that looking back from 20 to 21, there was a bigger collection. People didn't go anywhere, so I guess they decided to pay their
Got their money.
taxes. I don't know.
So that hurts the town if people don't,
If
if
they,
people
if
pay
they're,
on
if they're
time.
paying on time, you don't get the change in the penalty, but, yeah, but you got the money.
Don, did you pay on time this year?
I told you last month, it's none of your business.
You
Oh,
know,
Okay,
you are an asshole a lot of the time, aren't you?
okay, so that's the end of that, with the exception, I'm gonna pass this around I'm gonna let you each read this, and I'm gonna let you copy down the website. My intent was that maybe tonight we could eyeball it, but I don't know the password to the Wi-Fi here, so I couldn't get my tablet to work. But the Office of Emergency Services, FEMA has approved Steuben County's plan, and you as a board should be going to review the county plan on the county website, which is on this face sheet. So what's gonna have to happen is you've got to review that, and then we have to pass a resolution that we have adopted the Steuben County Hazard Mitigation Plan. And why do we do that? That's so that if in the future, if we have a problem, a big storm surge or whatever, we would be eligible for FEMA money. So if we do not adopt this plan, then we wouldn't get any FEMA money if we needed it at any given time. So I'm just gonna pass this around and ask you to please copy down the website, because this came just personally to Don. I don't have a copy in my system, so just, if you would please copy the website, eyeball FEMA's document, and then next month, I will have to have a resolution, yea or nay on that, because I have to have this in by April 30th. So next month will be okay to do that.
good.
All right?
And we have gotten FEMA funds before,
Right.
so.
So this is the website here in blue you're supposed to go
Yes,
to?
the website in blue, yes. And I didn't, it's so many pages, I wasn't gonna copy it out, you guys can look at it online. I believe, Don, was there anything else you and I talked about? I think that was everything I had
That's
at the
it.
clerk's office. And then for animal control, he had, there was nothing to report. He sent me a document, but there was nothing to report. I do believe, I saw Judge De Silva last evening, and court is now open, by the way. I don't know if that got passed
It
on.
is?
But court is open now. Anybody have any questions for the clerk?
Sure. what was this other thing in the packet from Kevin Sheen?
It's a supervisors meeting, it's gonna be held at the Howard Fire Department.